Welcome to White City Place Connect, where we're providing occupiers of White City Place a live platform to learn and engage whilst supporting wellbeing from the comfort and safety of our homes. Welcome everybody, it's good to be back again. Second Wednesday. My name's Dora, for those of you who don't know me. We're going to be needing just a mat today. I think that's all. No props, make it easy. So let's come to settle. It might be a good idea to turn your phones off and just create yourself a space without too many distractions. And we'll come to sit on our shins, if that's comfortable enough for you, in thunderbolt pose. You could place a blanket underneath your shins if the bones of the feet and the ankles don't feel so comfortable here. And of course, if this is too much of a stretch for the feet and the shins, come into any other comfortable seated position. This is quite nice because it enables us to have a tall spine. Ideally, we don't want to be hanging back into the pelvis. Because here we're going to be using quite a lot of muscular effort to try and draw ourselves straight. And let's just place the palms either facing down on the thighs, if you're a little bit scatty, a little bit anxious, if there's a lot going on in the head and you just want to ground yourself and be a little bit more present. If on the other hand you're feeling a little lethargic, wondering if you're going to make it here today, turn the palms up to receive energy. Lengthen up to the back of the neck, base of the skull, and lightly close the eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just take a soft gaze onto the floor in front of you. And begin the process of turning inwards, conscious of the natural breath. So our resting breath is quiet, it's silky, it's smooth, it's rhythmical. And we're breathing in and out through the nostrils. We do this for several reasons. The nasal passages help to sterilize the breath. They filter the breath. They warm the breath, so the breath is humid. And they give us a greater degree of control over where we direct the breath through the body. The breath being the vehicle of prana, our life force. When we breathe in through the mouth, it's a much more gross experience, and it tends to dehydrate the throat. If you wake up in the morning feeling a little lethargic and dehydrated, it may be that you've been breathing through the mouth throughout the night. So just take a few moments to experience the breath, either at the base of the nostrils or a little bit further up through the nasal passages, noting the temperature, texture, and quality of your breath. We're not trying to change the volume or the length in any way. And as we settle, our resting breath is quiet. It's silky. It's rhythmical. The breath is the only part of our autonomic system, nervous system, which is both voluntary and involuntary. And it's a little balance here when we take the attention to the natural breath, a tendency maybe to want to change it in some way. So taking a little bit of control now with the breath as you inhale, feel the breath rise up to the nasal passages, Travels all the way down the back of the throat and all the way down to the inner seam of the spine. As you exhale, breath rises to the inner seam of the spine, up and out through the nasal passages and out through the nostrils. Inhale, drawing the breath in, follow it down to the inner seam of the spine, down to the perineum. And as you exhale, breath rises up and out. Take a few more rounds of breath in this way. And notice what distracts your mind. Maybe a sound, a sensation in the body, a thought. And we let that sound, sensation of thought be acknowledged and we let it go. We return the focus of the mind to this passage of the breath. And bringing now the palms into prayer position. Let the breath settle into its own natural rhythm, moving slightly back to a more involuntary breath, and awareness of the breath that's there. And as you press right and left palms together gently, feel the elbows gently rise. A spaciousness between each shoulder, opening to the heart space. You may even feel the pelvic floor lightly lifting. Be sure not to squeeze the glutes too much. And then gently open your eyes. So we're going to make our way down onto our back to connect to the core a little bit in a rolling twist. So coming down and drawing your knees towards your chest. The knees and inner ankle bones are together. Open the arms out to the sides in a T shape. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, take the knees just slightly off center to the right. Inhale back through to the center. Exhale, knees come slightly over to the left. Inhale, come back through to the center. Continue. So just a small movement to begin with as you roll across the back of the sacrum, massaging the lower back and the sacral bones and joints. And just feeling the muscles of your abdomen, your oblique muscles, engaging as you do this. Inhaling, this time you may wish to take your knees a little bit further over, maybe halfway or maybe even nearly touching the floor. So engaging a different set of abdominal muscles now. Inhale back through to the center. Exhale, take the knees over to the left. And back through to the center. You may wish to add a head to this, so turning the head to the left as the knees come to the right. And inhale to come back, exhale, knees to the left, gaze to the right. And back through to the center. Take this one more time each side. Exhaling as the knees come over, inhaling as the knees come back through to the center. And then place your feet hip distance on the floor and your arms down by your sides. Settle for a moment. Popping up onto the tips of your toes as you inhale, stretch your legs up. Exhale, tap the toes. So you don't need to straighten the legs completely. So you inhale. It's often quite hard, but a difficult action to do for most of us. Tap the toes as you exhale. Inhale, straighten the legs up. So they're like two needles trying to pierce the ceiling. And take a little internal and external rotation right from the roots of your thighs. Pointing the toes, relaxing the upper body as much as you can. Almost like you're screwing the femur heads into the sockets there. And hug the knees towards you. Give the thighs a gentle squeeze, let the tailbone curl up, lower back, flatten to the floor. If you wish, you can lift your head and shoulders off the earth, cheeks to knees. And release your spine along the floor, back of the skull to the earth. Take the hands behind the backs of the knees. Rock yourself back, rock up, maybe crossing the ankles to flip all the way over onto your hands and knees, or just making your way over here. With the hips above the knees, take your hands another hand forward from the shoulders. Just going to rotate the hips, so coming forward as you inhale and exhale, coming back. Keep the front of the body toned, lifting the internal organs, and just have an awareness here of rotating around your 4 columns. Which of these 4 columns supports you as you circle your hips? Does one feel stronger than the other? And then rotate in the opposite direction, inhaling, coming forward, exhaling, coming back. Take the knees perhaps a little bit wider, big toes to touch. Come and sit down into a child's pose. We're going to make this an active child's pose. So the palms press down and forward. And you send in the energy through the spine, back into the pelvis, grounding the pelvis onto the heels. Don't worry if you're a little bit higher. That's fine. And then lifting your heart, start to walk your hands over towards the left. Keep your right sit bone on your heel. Make sure the torso follows, and the arms are an extension of the side bodies, the tips of your little fingers, and outer edges of your hips in line. Again, press the mat or the floor down and forward to send the energy back through the spine. Head can be on or off the floor. And coming up with the chest, walk your hands back through to the center. Make sure you center your sit bones if your pelvis has twisted. And walk your hands over towards the right. Really anchor down through your left sit bone. Your arms are stretching out as an extension of your side body. Forehead can be down or slightly lifted off the earth. Press the earth down and forwards to send the energy back into the pelvis. And then walking your hands back through to the center as you inhale, come up. Just for a moment, bring your knees and shins together. Tuck your toes this time. So variation of thunderbolt pose. You're just going to get a sneaky little stretch through the feet, hugging the outer ankle bones in and lifting up to the pelvic floor so you're not bearing all the weight down onto your toes here. If it's comfortable enough for you, stay here for a few moments while I demonstrate the next sequence. If not, you can come and sit on the tops of your feet in thunderbolt pose. So just have a little look so I can show you and then I'll guide you through it. We're going to come onto the hands and the knees again. Knees a little bit closer than hip distance. So the hands come another hand forward. I'm going to start with the cat, lifting the navel round in the spine as I exhale. Starting to come forward, looking towards the pubis. On the inhale, when the thighs reach the floor, the elbows draw in. I come through a cobra. Exhale, forehead comes to the floor, thighs lift. Inhale, thighs drop down, chest lifts. There's a little rock on the pubis. Coming back up and sitting down into a modified child's pose. So let's try that together. As you come off the shins, bring the shins a little bit closer than hip distance apart. With the hands underneath the shoulders, you'll want to take them another hand forward. As you exhale, lift and round your spine into your cat. Look to the pubis as you inhale and come forward. Halfway down, the elbows bend. And as you exhale, forehead comes to the floor, thighs rock off. Inhale, thighs drop down, chest lifts. And as you exhale, lift the navel and come to sit back down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, lift and round. Inhale, start to come forward. Bending the elbows as you exhale, forehead to the floor, thighs rock off. Thighs rock down, chest lifts, inhale. Exhale, come to sit down into your heels. One more time, inhaling. Exhaling, lifting and rounding. Inhale, start to come forward. Waving the spine. Exhale, forehead to the floor, thighs lift. As the thighs drop down, the chest lifts. Lift the navel to carry the pelvis back into this modified child's pose. Lovely. Inhaling, coming up onto hands and knees. Exhale, tuck your toes. We're going to float into an easy down dog. Softening the elbows. Feeling the breath that's there. And you may want to bend one knee and then the other, easing into the backs of the legs. Rolling through the bones of your feet. Just opening up the tissues in the calf muscles, Achilles tendons. And then raising both heels as you inhale. And sinking both heels as you exhale. Walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're going to be standing at the back of your mat with your feet about 2 fists apart, hanging over your legs. And just lift and lengthen your heart. Scoop the belly in and up a little bit, creating more length in the lumbar spine as you refold. Let your head hang off your neck. There might be a little shake here, a little nod of the head. And crossing one arm in front of the other. So it's almost like you're holding a beach ball. Take an inhale, press down to the feet and float the arms out to the sides, all the way up, crossing one forearm in front of the other, doesn't matter which one. As you exhale, release your right arm down, stretching over to the west. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, left arm down, stretching over to the east. Inhale, come back up. I'm turning sideways so you can see as you exhale, sit down into Utkatasana. Turn the palms towards your belly like you're holding a big beach ball. Pause. There's a pause in the breath here. Be in the center of your experience. As you inhale, stretch the back out. Reach the arms forward, take them out into an aeroplane position. And as you exhale, you're going to fold and hang. One forearm crosses in front of the other. Inhale, press down to the feet, float the arms out and up. Nice soft elbows as you exhale, release the right arm down, stretching over to the west. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, left arm stretching over to the east. Inhale, reach up to the north. Exhale, sit down into Utkatasana. Hold this beach ball, pause. As you inhale, extend the spine, reach out, arms come out to the sides, and as you exhale, you fold down to the south. Lovely. Look forward along your mat and you start to walk the hands back into your down dog. Perhaps it's a little longer than you're used to. Lift and round the spine in your cat. So cat in down dog and start to come forward. It's the same movement we've just done on our knees, looking towards the pubis. When the hips reach plank pose, lift the base of the skull. This may be enough for you today. You can come straight back into down dog. Or you may wish to draw the chest through the arms, flip onto the tops of the feet. Hug the elbows in towards you. There's a soft bend in the elbows. Gently elevate your gaze. Upward facing dog. Lift the navel, roll over the toes. Stretch back into your down dog. And a moment of stillness as you breathe. Seek the movement in stillness. So we're never really static. There's always the movement of the breath. Great. Step the left foot a little closer to your right foot, so a little bit more centered on the mat. And float your right leg up behind you, pressing the ball of the foot away. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose as you round. Inhale, take the leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, take the leg up and back. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands. Help it through with your right hand if you need to. Lower your back knee down onto the floor. As you inhale, open the heart, open the arms. And as you exhale, maybe curl the hands around and make an offering. If this is too much, just walk the fingertips forward and back. Inhale, open the heart, palms are up. Exhale, curl the fingers around, make an offering. One more time, inhaling so the core is strong. Exhaling. Inhale, walk yourself onto the foot. Raise the upper arms by the ears. Keep a lift to the pit of the belly. Palms are facing back. Fingertips come to rest on the shoulder blades. Turn the tricep muscles towards your face and point the elbows up towards the ceiling. Breathe, release the front toes. And take the arms back up. Take the hands to the floor. Lift the back knee. Step back into a downward facing dog. Lift the lower belly. Tuck the chin in as you exhale. Start to come forward. Inhale, gazing towards the pubis, either into plank, or you could lower yourself down in one piece here if you feel up dog is too much of a back bend for you today, or draw the chest through, squeeze the elbows in. So remember that little internal external rotation we took from the roots of the thighs here. Try to spin your baby toenail to the floor. And then we're going to lower down all the way to the floor, forehead to the earth. Hands onto the earth, raise your right leg up. The head comes slightly off the floor. Inhale, curl it over behind you, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, roll onto the belly, straighten the leg and release down. Inhale, raise your left leg up, curl it over, take the toes behind you. Inhale, roll onto the belly, straighten the leg and come back down. One more time each side. Inhaling, exhaling, little spiraling twist. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, take it over behind you. Inhale, exhale. Push into the hands. Press away from the earth. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. Feel the pulse of your breath. Seek the stillness in movement, so even between the breaths is a little pause, is a little moment of suspension, where we're able to feel viscerally the stillness at the core of ourselves. A little pause at the top of the inhale, the pause at the end of the exhale. Step your right foot a little closer to the center of your mat. Float your left leg up behind you. Press the ball of the foot away. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose or navel. Inhale, take the leg up and back. You come forward, shoulders over wrists as you exhale. Inhaling. Exhale, step the left foot in between the hands. Help it through if you need to. Lower the back knee down. Take the arms out as you inhale, and as you exhale, curl the hands around. Make a little offering. Inhaling, lift the heart. If it's too much of a balance, you feel too unstable, or the back knee is not comfortable, just walk the hands along the floor into your lunge and your little hamstring stretch. As you walk back onto the left foot, raise the arms by the ears, palms are facing back. Lift the lower belly, fingertips come onto the shoulder blades. Curl the tricep muscles towards you, lift the elbows towards the ceiling. And then release the arms, take the hands to the floor, lift your back knee and step back into a downward facing dog. Lift and round into your cat, and your down dog start to come forward as you inhale. Either from plank, you can lower yourself all the way down, or draw your chest through into up dog, and then release yourself to the floor here. Stretch your arms out here so they're in a wide V shape. And you're going to catch the floor with your hands. So your elbows are extending beyond the front corners of your mat. Raise your right leg up. This time we're going to keep the leg straight and roll over onto your left hip. And my right leg is hovering here. I'm catching the floor with my right hand. So there's a lengthening, spiraling activity through the back of your ribcage. Should feel really lovely, extending out from the navel. Roll onto your belly. Raise your left leg up. Catch the floor with your left hand as you roll over onto your right hip and the toes are coming behind you. Head can be down, head can be off. Rolling yourself back. Take the thumbs underneath the shoulders. Push yourself back up. Tuck toes. Downward facing dog. Lovely. Walk your toes a couple of inches forward. Lift your heels, look forward, maybe come right up onto the toes. Just scoop up in the belly and then release the heels down, relax the head and neck. If you can, walk a little bit further forward with your feet. So they're coming closer to the hands. Scoop up the belly, lift right up onto the tips of the toes, look forward. And then release down. That might be enough. You might be able to walk the feet just a tiny bit further forward. Again, coming right up onto the tips of the toes, looking slightly forward. And then release. And then either walking your feet towards the backs of the hands, all the way forward, or walking the hands back towards the feet. Let yourself hang. Let one forearm cross in front of the other, bend the knees. And then as you inhale, come all the way up to standing. And just walk yourself forward towards the front of the mat here. Melt the shoulders, take a soft gaze, palms are facing one another. And exhale, fly forward, touch the earth, let the head go. Inhale, lengthen the belly. Exhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. And shift the weight through the pelvis. So you're equally weighted through both feet. There's a little squeeze of inner thighs towards your midline. And push down into the feet and float the arms out and up into a wide V shape. Inhale here. As you exhale, come forward, touch the inner and outer ankle bone as if you're touching a big beach ball. Inhale, come all the way up. As you exhale, turn your chest towards your right, towards your bent knee. Inhale, come back through to the center. Exhale, turn in the opposite direction so the back heel comes down. So you're in a warrior two, but with the arms in this kind of V shape here. Turn the palms down, float the arms to shoulder level, and let your arms rest on the bank of your breath. Can you suck your right thigh bone into the socket? Notice what happens to that back hip. Your hips want to be on about a 45-degree angle here. And then press away from your front foot. Send the energy across the back of the sacrum and into the back leg. So you want to be able to feel your back leg engaged as you press away from the front leg. That's an indication that the energy is moving without conflict back across the back of your sacrum. Raise up your left arm as you inhale, little reverse warrior, exhale. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, just briefly touch Trikonasana. So we're flowing through the poses. Inhale. Exhale, little reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale. So notice the pauses between the breaths. A little suspension. Inhale. The movement is suspended for a brief moment. There's that beautiful moment of stillness. Inhale. Exhale. Use both legs to come all the way up. Turn your right toes in. Right arm comes up by the ear. Left arm around. So if you can, you hook a finger. If it's one, you can make it two. Don't worry if you can't reach or can't hook. You can reach or take a hold of the t-shirt. Turn the tricep muscle in towards you. Lift the belly, start to come forward into a flat back. Soften the backs of your knees. Keep your right elbow lifted as you do this. Lovely. Internal organs lifted. And then pressing down to the feet, leading with the elbow, come all the way up. So I'm not mirroring you here. This is you have your right elbow up. Spin yourself around towards the left foot. Swivel up your back heel. Take a lunge. Come forward over your thigh, arms in the same mudra. Draw your left hip back in space and squeeze the inner thighs towards your midline. Extend your right arm forward, left arm back as you exhale. Inhale, open the arms out to the sides. Exhale, change arms. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, change arms. Sweep the left arm down to come up into a high lunge. And then take the hands to the floor. Step back into a downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Seek the movement in stillness, so the movement of the breath here. Lovely. Float your right leg up behind you and step the right foot in between the hands. Help it through if you need to with the right hand. Right hand comes to the inside of the foot, so you're going to rotate yourself around into a wide-legged fold. Let the head hang. From here, turning your left toes out slightly, walk your hands over to the left as you exhale. It's a little side lunge. Inhale, come back. Left toes in, right toes out. Walk yourself across. Don't let your head get hung up about doing the right foot or being in the right orientation. Just be with your breath, be with your body. Exhale. Inhale, turn the right toes out. Exhale. Coming back through to the center, lift and lengthen the heart. Find that space between the vertebral bones. Draw the navel to the spine and let the crown of the head descend to the earth. Soften the backs of the knees and invite the weight into the outer edges of your feet. So we're working all the way around the mandala of our mat in this vinyasa. Walking your fingertips over towards the front again, so your left foot will be in front. Glide your back foot forward, feet to hip distance apart. Let yourself hand cross one arm in front of the other. Nice soft elbows, engage your core, use your feet. Come all the way back up as you inhale. Exhale, fly forward, touch the earth. Inhale, lift and lengthen your heart. Exhale, step back with your right toes into your lunge. Send the weight through the spine into the pelvis. Push into the front heel. Float the arms out and up. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. Touch the inner and outer ankle bone like you're holding a big beach ball. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. As you exhale, turn to the left towards your front knee and squeeze the inner thighs towards your midline. Inhale, turn your chest to the front, and as you exhale, the back heel comes down. Keep the left knee pressing towards the little toe. Turn the chest. It's a warrior two with the arms in a softer, wider expression. Open the arms, palms rest on the bank of your breath. Suck your left thigh back into the hip socket. Right hip, knee and toes follow suit. So the hips are on about a 45-degree angle here. So the energy can be transferred from the inner heel up the shin, across the top of the thigh, across the sacrum and down into the back leg. In that way, the sacroiliac joints are not compressing. There's a spaciousness in the lower back. Raise your left arm up, inhale. Exhale, come over. Inhale, straighten up the knee. Exhale, briefly touch Trikonasana. So we're flowing. Inhale. Note the pause. Exhale. Inhale. Suspending the breath. Suspending the movement as you flow over. Inhale. So here we're experiencing the stillness in movement. Inhale. Exhale, Trikonasana. Use both feet to come all the way up. Turn the toes in. It's going to be your left arm that comes up by your ear, your right arm under. So I'm not mirroring you. You're going to be doing the opposite here. Spin the tricep muscle in towards the cheek. Just be careful that this mudra doesn't cause the rib cage to flare out too much. So soften the lower ribs in. Soften the backs of your knees. Start to come forward into a flat back. Keeping that left elbow lifted. Soften the knees if you need to. And then leading with the elbow, let this elbow bring you all the way back up to standing. You're going to turn towards your right foot. Swivel up the back heel so the hips are square. And bend your front knee. If you need to make it a little bit longer, you can. So you're wrapping the left side of your body forward. Come forward over your thigh as you exhale. Anchor through the ball of your back foot. On your next exhale, extend the arms, left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale, take the arms out. Exhale, change. Inhale, arms into a T. Exhale, change. Sweep the right arm down by your hip to carry you all the way back up. And then take the hands to the floor and step back into your down dog. So either holding your down dog, experiencing the movement in stillness here. If you wish to take a vinyasa, lift and round the spine, look towards the pubis. Start to come forward. Maybe through a plank, and then you could take it straight back, or through an upward facing dog. Scoop the elbows in. Little internal rotation in the roots of your thighs. Lift your navel, roll over the toes. Stretch the hips off the lower back as you breathe. Float your left leg up behind you. Step the foot forward in between the hands. Help it through with your left hand if you need to. Left hand to the inside. Walk yourself around into a wide-legged fold. And turn around. Turning your right toes out about 10 degrees. So I'm mirroring you now. Walk yourself across. Maybe the heel pops off. Maybe your left thigh bone sucks back into the socket. Knees and toes point towards the ceiling. My fingertips are just in line with my pelvic bones here. Lifting up to the pelvic floor, palms into prayer. A little bit of a balance. Feel free to have the hands on the earth if you need to. Most importantly is this rotation of the thigh bone in the socket, so that those toes are pointing vertically up towards the ceiling. Take the fingertips to the earth. Creep yourself across, the left toes out about 10-15 degrees into your side lunge. Fingertips in line with the pelvic bones. Roll your right inner thigh towards the ceiling. Lift up through the pelvic floor, palms into prayer. So maybe aligning the diaphragms of the body, pelvic floor, breathing diaphragm, roof of the mouth, top of the brain and skull. Take the fingertips back to the floor. Walk yourself back through to the center. Depending on how wide you are, you're turning your toes in or your heels out. Lift and lengthen your spine and release. Let the crown of the head drop to the floor. Let your belly hollow back. Walking yourself around towards the front. You'll have your right foot in front and glide the back foot forward. Come all the way up to standing as you inhale. Exhale, fly forward from the hips. Take the fingertips to the earth. Inhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. Just once this time, float the arms up into a wide V. Inhale. Exhale, touch the inner and outer ankle bone. Inhale, push into the front foot as you come up. As you exhale, turn towards the right knee. Squeeze the inner thighs towards your midline. Inhale, float to the front. Exhale, back heel down. Open the arms, let them rest gently on your breath. So feel the viscosity of the air around you, not just in front of you, but behind you, underneath and above your arms. Raise up your right arm, inhale, exhale, inhale, Trikonasana. Expanding out in all directions. Use both legs to come all the way up. Turn your toes in so their feet are parallel. And this time you're coming forward in the flat back with the arms out into an aeroplane position. Soften the knees. There's going to be a tendency to want to sit back into the knee joints and heels here. And like an aeroplane turning in the sky, so without moving the arms independently, turn the heart towards the left. The arms will move from the axis of the spine. Float your right fingertips to the floor, and you can bend the knees if you need to. Start to open up the chest, maybe look up towards that left thumb. Here, maybe where you want to stay, spine extending vertically, or you can wrap that top arm around the waist, maybe even tucking the fingertips onto the top of the opposite thigh. Now visualize the spine reaching from tailbone through to the crown of the head, vertically forward. And then if you wish, lean your shoulder blades towards your right toes, so the spine is coming off center. You could look up if there's too much tension, look down. Veer your spine back into the center of the pose. Use both legs to float the arms out and up. Excellent. Wiggle your feet a little bit closer. Turn your right toes to the front and your back heel comes out. Now to bring that back foot down, you may need to step it in a little bit more and give yourself a bit of width between the feet. So wiggling the right foot slightly out to the side. Press the top of your right shin bone forward. Come forward into a flat back here. Arms in an aeroplane. Negotiate the weight between the front and the back foot. So notice if your weight is coming much more forward into this front leg, or are you hanging into the back leg? Again, like an aeroplane, start to turn towards the right knee. So the arms are floating off the floor. It's a variation of Pavrita Trikonasana, twisted triangle. Using the legs strongly. Great, and then coming all the way back up. Well done. Turn the palms, bring them up by the ears. Exhale, bend the front knee as you take the fingertips to the floor. Step back into a nice long lunge. Step back into a downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Maybe walking the feet forward a couple of inches. Lifting up onto the tips of the toes, looking forward, scoop up the belly. Inhale, exhale, sink the heels. Again, walking the feet a little bit further forward. Scooping up from the pit of the belly, just above the pubis, come onto the tips of the toes, look forward, and exhale. And then walking the feet all the way forward towards the backs of the wrists, or walking the hands back if you need to. Let one arm cross in front of the other. Push downward to the legs to come all the way up. And exhale, fly forward from the hips. Take the fingertips to the floor. Let the head go. Inhale, step back with your left toes. Push into the heel, float your arms into a wide U shape. Inhale. And as you exhale, turn towards the left knee. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Inhale back through to the center. Exhale, back heel down. Open the chest. Warrior two. Open the arms. Have a sense of the space, not just in front of you, or the space in front of your left hand, but also above you, behind you. Inhale, raise up the left arm, exhale. Inhale, straighten the leg, exhale. Trikonasana, expand out in all directions. Use both legs to come all the way up, turn the toes in, arms are out to the sides in an aeroplane position. Rotating the pelvis over the top of the femur heads. Soften the knees. Make sure the front, back and sides of the neck are equally long. So you're not shortening the back of the neck. You might need to look up, but then lengthen. Start to turn the heart towards the right leg, and reaching out from tip of the finger to fingertip. Arms are attached to the spine, so moving only in proportion that the rotation of the spine is for you. Let the left fingertips come to the floor. You might feel you can shift the weight forward a little bit here. Maybe the heart turns a little bit more. Back arm can wrap around the back of the waist. Find the verticality of the spine to begin with. This might be where you want to stay. There can, of course, be a softness or even a bend in the knees. And then lean your shoulder blades back towards the left as your spine veers off center. Chin slightly in. Come back to the center with your spine. Press down to the legs to come all the way up. And heel turn your feet a little bit closer. Swivel on the left heel as you turn your toes forward. Back heel comes out. You might want to make the stance a little shorter and with a little bit more width, wiggling the left foot out to the side. Hips are relatively square. Soften the front knee. It's not bent, but it's soft as you press the top of the shin bone forward. Come into an aeroplane position. And then start to turn towards the left with the heart. Shift the weight into the back foot a little. Extend out through both fingertips. Breathe. There's a lot of strength in the legs, a lot of core strength. And then come all the way back up. Lovely. Raising the arms. Bending the front knee as you take the fingertips to the floor. Take your right foot away into a long lunge. And step back into your downward facing dog. A couple of breaths here. And with the feet hip distance apart, maybe start to piston the legs. So this is a little counterintuitive. You're going to keep the legs straight. Just lift one heel and let that side of the hip lift up also. And then go the other way. So the legs are straight as you lift one heel and the other, which means the pelvis has to roll. Notice that little hollow above the pubis as you do this. And then walking your feet forward towards the backs of the wrists. Folding forward, take an inhale, come all the way up to standing. Good. Release the arms down. Take another big inhale. As you exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Step back with your left toes into your lunge. Right hand to the inside of the foot, walk yourself around, turn the left toes out. Come all the way across into your side lunge once again. Good. Maybe the hands come to the heart in prayer if you want to try this little free balance once again. Or you could take the fingertips to the earth, release the tailbone and stretch your arms forward, making little cupcakes with your hands so that you can feel that connection from the tips of your fingers back into the tips of your shoulder blades. So as you stretch out, you also draw back in. Walking the hands back towards you, swivel around towards your front leg, your right leg, and maybe glue the knees together. The heel is on the floor, another little balance there, squeezing the inner thighs. Take the fingertips to the floor, slide your right heel forward, left knee to the floor. Keep a bend in your front knee as you come forward into Ardha Hanumanasana. Inner thighs draw towards one another. So there's a rooting down. You're actually really light. You could maybe take your fingertips off the floor. Take the hands inside of the leg and sweep your right leg around. Come all the way down to lie on your belly, forehead on the backs of your hands. Take a couple of breaths here. Coming up with the chest, coming onto your forearms. Draw the arm bones back towards you, extend the heart forward, tuck your toes, lift the knees. Good. As you curl your tailbone under, feel the lower belly lifting. Shorten the space between navel and pubis, forearm plank. Walk your feet towards the elbows, forearm down dog. Breathe. Find the movement in stillness. So either lowering down to come back into a high down dog or coming up onto one hand and then the other. Feel the lightness of this higher variation. And walk your feet forward towards the backs of the wrists. Let yourself hang. Take an inhale. Come all the way up to standing. As you exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Step back with your right toes into your lunge. Left hand to the inside. Walk yourself across. Right toes turn out. Come all the way over into a side lunge. Roll your left inner thigh upwards, Bring the hands to the heart in prayer. Maybe a little balance. It might just be for a millisecond. Of course, feel free to keep the hands on the floor if you need that support. It's really strengthening for this ankle. There's a lot of wobbling going on there. Or maybe the fingertips come to the floor. You release your tailbone and you start to come forward. Catch the floor with the tips of your fingers, and as you reach out, also draw back. So we work with opposing directions of movement. We move between stillness and activity. We find the movement in stillness and the stillness in movement. The pause is just as important. Walk your hands back towards you. Good. Swivel yourself around towards that straight leg. Bend that left knee. So you're going to squeeze the knees and inner thighs together. Maybe see if you can bring the palms into prayer just for a moment of balance here. Can you align your diaphragms, pelvic floor, breathing diaphragm, roof of the mouth, space between the top of the brain and the skull. Fingertips come to the floor. Keep a bend in the front knee as you slide it forward, back knee comes down. And then you're going to come into an Ardha Hanumanasana. Equal bends in the knees here. And you're rooting down in order to create an uplift. So you may be able to take the fingertips off the floor. Squaring the hips by pulling front knee or front heel and back knee towards one another. Take the left hand to the inside of the leg and sweep this left leg around. Make your way down onto your belly. And take a moment of pause. Feel the breath moving against the resistance of the earth. And have an awareness also of the back body breathing. Draw your gaze forward and come onto your forearms. Sphinx pose. As if you were trying to lengthen out of your lower back, traction out of your lower back by pulling yourself forward. Tuck your toes, lift your knees. Curl your tailbone under, start to feel the lower belly lifting. Shorten the space between navel and pubis. Come into a forearm plank. Lower down if you've had enough, or walk your toes towards your elbows. Forearm down dog. If you want more, step the feet together. Raise up your right leg and look forward as you inhale. Exhale, place the toes down, relax the neck. Inhale, raise your left leg up, look forward. Lift out of the shoulders. Exhale, take the toes down, relax the neck. Lower your knees to the floor, flatten your feet, come into child's pose. Slide the elbows wide so the hands rest on the floor in front of your head and spread across the shoulder blades. Be present to the aliveness of this moment, of all the energy that you've created. The sensations in your body, the movement of the breath. Stretch your arms out in front of you and curl your way up to sit on the heels, tracing the fingertips along the mat and back onto your thighs, aligning the diaphragms, pelvic diaphragm, breathing diaphragm, roof of the mouth, space between the top of the brain and the skull. Bring your knees together, sink your hips to one side, stretch your legs out in front of you. Take the feet mat width. Interlace your fingers, point the first two fingers up towards the ceiling, reach up, root down, and then slowly as you exhale, you're going to roll down towards the earth. Take the arms up and over to the floor behind you as you reach back. Stretch your heels towards the front corners of your mat. Sweep your arms out to the sides and bring them down by the side of your body. Lift the heart, slide the shoulder blades down the back, and you might even want to sweep the skin of the buttocks towards the heels, just snuggling yourself down here. Let the little toe edges of your feet drift to the floor, base of your thumbs drift to the earth. Fingers curl back naturally towards the center of each palm. Shavasana is the pose of integration. It's here that we integrate all that we have done, that we receive the benefits of our practice. Our poses continue to work for us energetically long after we've come off our mat. We'll be here for just one more minute in stillness, in silence. I'll mind the time. Take a long, smooth inhalation. Pause. A complete exhalation. Pause. Take an inhale like the spring pause at the height of summer. Long exhale like the autumn and rest in the depth of winter. Let this go. And when you're ready, roll yourself over to the right side, still with your eyes closed. And make your way back to a comfortable seat. You may wish to come back into Thunderbolt pose as we began just an hour ago. Just taking a moment to notice how you feel after this short practice, if anything has changed. Accepting the impermanence of everything. Holding things lightly in the knowledge of the transience of everything. And finally, just aligning yourself from the inside out, from the pelvic floor, diaphragm, the diaphragm of the breathing apparatus, the roof of the mouth, the diaphragm between the brain and the skull. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer. Bow your head towards the tips of the fingers. And as you gaze towards your heart space, thank yourself for making this time to practice. Not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of all. And with an open heart, and perhaps a more spacious mind, and maybe just a different perspective, raise your gaze. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope to see some of you next week. Have a blessed day.